Hello dear students! In today's video we're going to talk about the introduction and the most common types of introduction. First of all, what is an introduction? The introduction, as you all know, is the first or the opening paragraph of the essay. It is the reader's window on the text in hand and therefore should be catchy, which means attractive, interesting, and relevant to the topic. What do you think is the importance of the introduction? Yes, the introduction is very important since it introduces the topic, it arouses the reader's interest in the topic. Third, it provides background information, facts or historical information about the topic. And finally, it presents the thesis statement which sets the roadmap for the whole essay. Now, what do you think are the most common types of introductory paragraphs? The following are the most common types of introductory paragraphs. Number 1, a series of rhetorical questions. 2, interesting facts or statistics. Number 3, an anecdote. Number 4, historical introduction. The fifth type of introduction is moving from general to specific. Number 6 is the quotation. And finally, we have the definition. Now we are going to talk about each type of introduction and give examples. The first type is a series of questions. This type usually denotes the ability of the writer to start with a question or a series of orienting and stimulating questions to prepare the reader for expected answers to follow or to merely arouse the reader's interest. An example on this kind of introduction would be: how often have governments and politicians across the world initiated campaigns demanding immediate action while eradicating humanity's fiercest monster, poverty? Look at the question mark. This is the first question used in the introduction. A second one is: how many plans have been set by permanent and non-permanent members of UN and global NGOs in an attempt to curb the calamitous effects of such a dilemma? So here, this is the second question. Thus, the type of introduction used is a series of questions. The second kind of introduction is interesting facts or statistics. What do you mean by this? This means that the writer begins with introducing interesting facts or statistics about the topic. Example: over 3 billion people live on less than $2.50 a day. If current trends continue, the Millennium Development Goals target of halving the proportion of underweight children will be missed by 30 million children. I'd like you to notice the words written in yellow. We have numbers, we have 30 million, we have 3 billion, we have $2.50. So the type of introduction used here is interesting facts. The third type of introduction is called the anecdote. An anecdote means a short story. This type of introduction usually begins with a short anecdote or a brief event which illustrates one's topic. This could be based on the author's personal experience or someone else's experience. Have a look at this example. A 3-year-old Ellen Kurdi was found dead corpse washed ashore near the Turkish resort of Bodrum. After their ongoing struggle against the civil war waged in their country, the Kurdi family decided to take their risks in an attempt to elope their painful reality, not knowing that a more painful fate awaits them. Again here, I'd like you to have a look at the words written in yellow. We have the name of the baby, Ellen Kurdi. So this is the character in the story. We have the setting of the story, the Turkish resort of Bodrum. So we have the elements of the story. Thus, we can say that the type of introduction used here is an anecdote or a short story. The fourth type of introduction is called the historical introduction. In a historical introduction, the writer would start with a general historical background. Example: Poverty has had an exciting history. Look at the word history. From the 18th century onward, a change in moral awareness caused a shift in the understanding of poverty as being an ideal state for individuals and communities to being an execrable condition that societies should amend. In the 20th and 21st centuries, again, look at the words 20th and the 21st centuries. So, all the words written in yellow here indicate time. So, the type of introduction used is historical background. The fifth type of introduction is known as from general to specific. As the name suggests, this is one of the most common types of introductory paragraphs. It usually starts with a general statement of the larger topic, then each sentence narrows down until the writer reaches the thesis statement. Example on moving from general to specific would be this passage. Life is full of catastrophic and calamitous issues. The words written in yellow again. We have calamitous issues. So the writer started talking about many issues. Then he moved to mention poverty, which is again highlighted in yellow, which is one of these calamitous issues. Then he tended to mention the effects of poverty, and to make it more specific, he said or he mentioned the social and physical effects of poverty. So he started with the general, then he moved to the specific. The sixth type of introduction is known as the quotation. This type of introduction starts with a proverb or a quote related to the topic being addressed, and it explains the quote and connects it to the topic of discussion. An example on this type of introduction known as the quotation would be this one. There are people in the world so hungry that God cannot appear to them except in the form of a bread. Can you see the quotation marks here? This quote by Gandhi. So the writer here started his or her introduction by quoting. Okay, since you see the quotation marks, this means that the type of introduction used is quotation. The last kind of introduction here is the definition. This type of introduction starts with a definition of an important issue, namely the topic under discussion. An example on definition would be this one. Poverty, we put a comma, the state in which people's basic needs for food, shelter, and clothing are not met, another comma, is a social phenomenon endangering communities worldwide nowadays. So we can see here that the writer has started his or her introduction by defining poverty. He said, poverty, the state in which the basic needs are not met. This is the definition of poverty. Thus, we can say that the type of introduction used is definition. This is the end of the presentation. These are the 7 most common types of introduction. I'd like to thank you. Bye-bye.